Hello, my darlings, and welcome to Tales of Love. Tonight, I have something deliciously forbidden for you, an unforgettable journey that begins high above the clouds. Before we dive in, I want to thank you for being here with me. Your support means everything. If you enjoy passionate, sensual, and dangerously irresistible stories, don't forget to like this video. Leave me a comment sharing your thoughts, and of course, subscribe to Tales of Love so you never miss another night of temptation. Now, sit back, relax, and let me take you on a journey, a story I like to call Fire the Stranger in First Class, a married woman's forbidden flight romance airplane kiss mark. The terminal was buzzing with tired travelers dragging suitcases, eyes half closed, as if the world around them moved in slow motion. For me, the night was just beginning. My heels clicked softly against the polished airport floor, the hem of my silk blouse brushing my hips as I moved toward the gate. My husband had kissed me goodbye hours ago, distracted as always by his phone, reminding me to have a safe flight, without even looking me in the eye. It was supposed to be a routine overnight trip, one of many I had taken for work, but something felt different, an anticipation I couldn't name, a restless energy humming under my skin. When I finally boarded, the cabin lights of first class glowed a soft golden hue, cocooning me in warmth and quiet luxury. I slid into my seat by the window, grateful for the escape from the chaos of the terminal. The leather felt cool beneath me, the faint scent of champagne and clean linen filling the air. I was still adjusting when he appeared. Tall, broad-shouldered, effortlessly composed. His presence carried a magnetic weight that pulled my eyes to him before I could look away. He stowed his carry-on in the overhead compartment, the crisp line of his shirt stretching across his chest, then turned with a faint smile as he realized his seat was right next to mine. "Looks like we'll be traveling together tonight," he said, his voice smooth, low, with that kind of confidence that instantly unsettles you. I nodded, offering a polite smile. "Seems so." As he settled in, I noticed the details, the faint stubble along his jaw, the way his wrist brushed his watch as he adjusted the seatbelt, the subtle warmth of his cologne drifting toward me. I tried to focus on my book, but the closeness of him, the awareness of his body only inches from mine, already had my pulse quickening. When the flight attendants moved through the aisle offering champagne, he lifted his glass to me in a quiet toast. "To long nights and unexpected company," he said, his gaze holding mine just a second too long. I clinked my glass softly against his, feeling the spark in that moment travel down my spine. I told myself it was harmless, just a stranger, just a flight. But deep down, I already knew better. The plane lifted smoothly into the night sky, the city lights shrinking into glittering sparks far below. The cabin hushed to a comfortable silence, passengers sinking into their reclined seats. I shifted slightly, resting my head against the window, trying to convince myself that I could fall asleep. But sleep was impossible. Not with him beside me. He turned toward me, his shoulder brushing mine just slightly, and gave me that same effortless smile. "Do you fly often?" he asked, his voice low, intimate, as though it were meant for me alone in the dim light. "Too often," I admitted, tucking a strand of hair behind my ear. "Work takes me everywhere, but it's not nearly as glamorous as it sounds." "Let me guess," he said, tilting his head thoughtfully. "Corporate? Something that keeps you moving but leaves little room for pleasure." The way he said that last word lingered, like silk against bare skin. I felt warmth spread across my chest, though I tried to hide it with a soft laugh. "Something like that." He studied me in a way that made me feel both exposed and desired at once. Not like my husband, whose glances had grown colder with time, perfunctory at best. This man looked at me as if he were peeling away layers I didn't even know I had. The attendant returned with another round of champagne. He reached for his glass first, then gestured for mine, his fingers brushing mine as he handed it to me. The touch was fleeting, innocent on the surface, but the jolt it sent through me was anything but. We sipped, we talked. The hours began to slip away unnoticed. I learned his name was Adrian. He was returning from Europe, consulting for a firm, though the details of his job hardly mattered. What caught me was the way he listened. Every word I spoke, every small confession about my work, my travels, my restless nights, he absorbed it, his eyes never leaving mine. At one point, the plane dimmed to near darkness, cabin lights lowered so passengers could sleep. A hush fell across first class. Only the glow of tiny reading lamps and the rhythmic hum of engines filled the air. I turned slightly toward him, close enough to smell the subtle spice of his cologne, close enough to feel his arm warm against mine. His hand rested casually on the armrest between us. Mine, too close to be accidental. I could feel the heat radiating from his skin, a dangerous invitation without a word spoken. I hesitated, my ring glinting faintly in the low light. But then his fingers moved, just a slow, deliberate brush against mine. I froze, breath caught in my chest. He didn't look down. He didn't apologize. He just held my gaze, his eyes steady, daring me to pull away. But I didn't. Instead, I let my fingers linger, trembling slightly as they touched his. The faintest connection, yet it burned like fire. A married woman, high above the clouds, seated beside a stranger whose charm and quiet confidence unraveled me piece by piece. And I knew then, this was no ordinary flight. The hours slipped by, the hum of the engines a constant lull beneath the quiet intimacy of first class. Every so often, Adrian would lean slightly closer as we talked, his shoulder brushing mine, his hand occasionally resting just a whisper away from mine. Each accidental, or perhaps deliberate, touch sent a shiver through me. I told myself it was impossible. I was married. I had vows, a life built around someone who barely noticed me anymore. And yet, the way he looked at me, with a hunger that mirrored my own, made every rational thought slip away. "Can I ask you something?" he murmured, voice low, intimate. My breath caught. "Something personal?" I nodded, heart hammering. "What is it you truly want right now?" His fingers gently traced the back of my hand. The sensation, electrifying and forbidden, made my stomach coil. My voice faltered. I couldn't tell him the truth. Not yet. But the truth burned in my veins. I wanted him. I wanted him desperately. He leaned closer, his lips brushing the shell of my ear as he whispered, "You don't have to say it. I can feel it." I tried to pull back. My mind screamed, "Stop. You're married." But my body betrayed me. The warmth of his breath, the scent of him, the magnetic pull of his presence, it was overwhelming. The plane had grown quieter. Most passengers slept, lulled by the dim cabin lights. In the shadows, we were alone. In the intimacy of those private, stolen moments, all restraint began to crumble. He touched my arm lightly, just above the elbow. "Relax," he said softly. "Let yourself feel." And I did. I let go of every shred of guilt, every boundary I had tried to hold on to. His fingers traced down my arm, warm, insistent, leaving a trail of heat that made me ache in ways I hadn't allowed myself in years. My pulse raced. My breath came in short, uneven bursts. Our faces were closer now, so close that the soft brush of our lips felt inevitable. My chest pressed against him, our eyes locking in a gaze that spoke louder than words ever could. "Adrian," I whispered, my name trembling on my lips, a confession and an invitation all at once. He responded with a quiet smile, brushing a stray lock of hair from my face. "Don't fight it. Not here, not now. Just let it happen." The moment broke the dam of my restraint. Our lips met, first softly, tentatively, then with a hunger that had been simmering since the moment we met. It was a kiss filled with desperation and desire, a kiss that spoke of longing unspoken for months, maybe years. Hands roamed with a careful boldness, exploring curves and planes, testing limits in the dim glow of first class. Every touch, every gasp, every subtle moan was magnified by the thrill of secrecy. High above the clouds, no one could see, no one could judge. It was just the two of us, suspended in the night, suspended in pleasure. His hands traced the contours of my body under my blouse, fingertips sending shivers down my spine. I trembled, pressed closer, feeling the heat of him against me, daring him, and myself, to go further. I knew it was forbidden. I knew it was reckless. And yet, in that stolen, suspended moment, nothing else mattered. Not my husband, not the life waiting below, not the world outside this private cabin of desire. The night had only just begun. The cabin remained hushed, the gentle hum of the engines filling the background as the darkness wrapped around us. Every glance, every touch, had built a tension so thick it was almost unbearable. Adrian's hands moved with purpose now, tracing along my sides, sliding over the soft fabric of my blouse, sending sparks of desire that made my skin burn. My fingers tangled in his hair as I leaned into him, craving the warmth of his body, the heat of his lips, the thrill of this forbidden moment. "Are you sure?" I whispered, my voice shaky but yearning. I could feel the flutter of my heartbeat, wild and desperate. His lips brushed mine, a soft, teasing promise. "I'm sure," he murmured, his breath hot against my skin. "If you want this, we have tonight. No one here to stop us." It was all I needed. The hesitation melted away as I let myself fully succumb to the magnetic pull between us. Our lips met again, harder this time, more urgently. The seatbelt clicking around us did nothing to hinder the rhythm of our desire. Every brush of our skin, every soft moan, was amplified by the thrill of being caught, of doing something so reckless, yet so intoxicating. His fingers slipped beneath the edge of my blouse, tracing the curve of my waist, over my hips, and under the fabric of my skirt. Heat pooled between my thighs, a delicious ache that demanded attention. I pressed closer to him, my hands exploring the strength and warmth of his chest, feeling the muscles tense beneath my fingers. We moved carefully, a delicate dance of stolen moments and urgent whispers. Every touch, every caress, heightened the intensity. I could feel his breath hitch as our bodies melded together, driven by a need that had been simmering from the moment we sat side by side. The thrill of the forbidden only fueled our passion. We were high above the world, cocooned in the dim glow of first class, entirely alone in our desire. Every brush of our lips, every graze of skin, was electric, charged with the tension of secrecy. He pressed me back against the seat gently, hands roaming, lips exploring, tongues dancing in a heated rhythm. My moans were soft, desperate, mingling with his deep, intoxicating sighs. Each touch, each movement, was deliberate, teasing, building toward the peak of our shared craving. Time ceased to exist. There was no past, no future, only this, the stolen intimacy at 35,000 feet, a forbidden connection neither of us could resist. The cabin lights flickered softly as if acknowledging the heat between us, and I surrendered completely, letting desire take over, letting passion erase every thought but him. The encounter was intense, consuming, and yet there was tenderness too, a sense of intimacy that made it more than just physical. Every kiss, every touch, every whispered word carried a depth of longing that went beyond lust. It was a night neither of us would forget, a moment suspended in time, wrapped in secrecy and ecstasy. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, we rested, bodies entwined, hearts racing in the quiet hum of the plane. I leaned my head against his chest, feeling the steady beat of his heart against mine. The world outside was still, distant, irrelevant. Up here, we had found something forbidden, thrilling, and unforgettable. The cabin lights remained dim, casting a soft glow over our entwined forms. My fingers traced the lines of his chest, memorizing the feel of him as if imprinting the memory forever. Adrian's hand cupped my face gently, his thumb brushing my cheek as our foreheads rested together. "I'll never forget this night," he whispered, his voice thick with desire and warmth. "Neither will I," I replied, my breath still ragged, my heart pounding in rhythm with his. "It feels impossible, and yet perfect." We shared one final, lingering kiss, a kiss that carried the weight of temptation, passion, and a connection far deeper than either of us could have imagined. The thrill of the forbidden danced across my skin, mingling with the sweetness of intimacy. As the plane cruised high above the world, I finally allowed myself to relax in the aftermath of our secret, intense encounter. Wrapped in his arms, I felt alive, desired, and truly seen in a way I hadn't been for years. The moments passed, slow and delicious, until sleep claimed us both, bodies still tangled, hearts still racing. For tonight, the world belonged to us, a night suspended between clouds and stars, where forbidden desire had found its home. My darlings, wasn't that an intoxicating escape? A night high above the clouds, stolen glances, heated touches, and a passion that defied the rules of the world below. I hope you enjoyed this forbidden romance as much as I loved sharing it with you. If you felt the thrill, the tension, and the heat of the stranger in first class, don't forget to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and most importantly, subscribe to Tales of Love for more passionate, sensual, and irresistibly forbidden stories. Remember, my loves, the world may tell you no, but up here, in the quiet of desire, anything is possible. Until next time, let your heart chase what it dares to want.